25% of everyone who made a New Year's resolution at the start of this year has already broken it. That's at the time of this recording, which is at the end of the first week of January. By the end of the second week, that number is going to increase to almost a third of people, and it's going to get to at least half of everybody who made a resolution by the 6-month mark. So that's the end of June. I'm bringing that up for a few reasons. So one is to say, actually, if you can get through these first 2 weeks, it seems the drop-off rate tends to decline from there. So actually getting through this first 2 weeks is the hardest bit, and part of why I'm making this video is for just a little bit of like a midpoint motivation. But on the other side, I want to talk a little bit about why are people getting this so wrong anyway? You might be asking, why didn't I do this video before the new year so I could kind of help everybody plan things a little bit better? I actually didn't plan to do anything with this. This wasn't an idea for a video that I was even going to record, but I just saw today when I was walking past the gym right next to my house for the last, I guess last week, 3 or 4 days, the gym's been packed. Every time I walk past it, even at random, 3 in the afternoon, 11 a.m., times that you don't normally expect to see it super filled out, there's been people all over the place everywhere. And today I was cooking some lunch, went to the shop to go get some food, walked past the gym, and it's completely dead, empty. I almost thought the place had closed down. The lights were completely off. I couldn't see anyone. I couldn't even see any of the trainers. And I thought, oh man, that's a big drop off within 5 days. And I could be wrong. It could be just a big coincidence that the one time I walked past happened to be when it was actually closed for something, or just everyone went yesterday, so they don't need to go today. I don't know. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about a number of the reasons that I think people tend to fail in their New Year's resolutions, so that you can either adjust what you're doing, adjust the thing you set out to do, or even in some cases actually just add to what you were already doing to help you become a little bit more successful. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is, for a lot of the time, the reason people fail in these things, especially fail so quickly, is they made the thing they're trying to achieve way too hard. Humans are pretty terrible at predicting things over a long period of time. So there's a saying that you always overestimate what you can achieve in a year and you underestimate what you can achieve in 10 years. I think when we're thinking about a year's period of time, it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. Well, if you're overestimating what you think you can achieve in the year, or what you think you can be by the end of the year, you're probably also going to be massively overestimating what you need to do every single day in order to achieve that goal. And it gets a little bit more complicated when you think about the idea that if you want to achieve something really big in a year's time, you actually don't need to be doing something really big every single day. You can divide that into 365 parts. This comes up all the time when people talk about things like James Clear, Atomic Habits. You only need to improve yourself by 1% every day to have a 365% increase in what you've achieved by the end of a year. So first thing you need to do, if you've chosen a resolution, if you're wondering, am I going to be able to stick this out for the full year, whether you already failed or whether you have yet to fail, can I make this any easier? Make it something along the same lines. So if I wanted to do a 30-minute workout every single day, can I change it? Can I do 1 push-up every single day for an entire year? That's the kind of thing where doing the activity might get you in the mood to do a workout, but you still don't fail if you don't continue the workout afterwards. So every single day, as long as you've done that 1 push-up, you're good. You've shown your commitment to a goal of, maybe that's for building strength or muscle or being more healthy. And if you show up to that 365 times in a row, it's hard to think that at least some of those times you won't have gone and done your full workout or done other things that match with the idea of you being a fitter or healthier or stronger person. So the idea of the resolution wasn't to do all of those really difficult things that you think you should be doing, just to do something that is a daily reminder that just resets your commitment to that goal over time. It doesn't need to be the really difficult thing itself. In fact, what you may be better doing is choosing a really easy goal to do over the year, and then break the year into chunks and choose big goals for each term. So maybe it's a season, maybe it's a 12-week term, maybe it's a monthly goal, a different type of fitness challenge every single month, a different type of nutrition thing every single month. That way, when one of the bigger things fails, you've got a couple of weeks now to regroup, figure out what went wrong, why did it go wrong, was it too hard, was I just completely unprepared, did something unexpected I couldn't have anticipated come and ruin that goal for me? Well, luckily I still got this year, 1 year long challenge, and I'm going to have multiple other opportunities to make up for that one time where I lost earlier on. So the second reason I think a lot of people break their resolutions is, instead of trying to do something, they're trying to not do something. So this is almost the opposite of the last one, where there you're trying to add something that was maybe too big into your routine. This time you're taking something out of your routine that normally is there. That's maybe something that you don't want, you don't like. So for the majority of people, that's going to be something like drugs, alcohol, fatty foods. For me, every single year, my nails are pretty gross. I try to set a goal of not biting my nails for an entire year. And these ones almost always are guaranteed not to work. It's pretty much a guarantee that if you dedicate a part of your brain to thinking about not doing something, eventually you're going to do it. And the problem with this versus choosing something that you are going to do every day is the pain that you feel from failing a task is much greater than the pain you feel from not doing something that you wanted. So if you fail something, but it's just because you forgot to do it, then your brain isn't focusing on that thing anyway. So when you don't do your workout that you were supposed to do, you don't dwell on it for anywhere near as long as if you do something you specifically didn't want to do. I think that's partly just because as people, if we say we're a certain kind of person, I'm the kind of person who doesn't eat fast food, and then I watch myself literally go into McDonald's and start eating a burger, it's much harder for the brain to rationalize that. So the signals that it's going to send are going to be much more intense than if we said, I'm going to go to the gym every single day, and well, today I just forgot, or I was busy. What can you do? You can make excuses for why you're not doing something, but if you've already set yourself into the mindset that you're going to specifically avoid a thing, it's really hard for your brain to rationalize that when you're sitting there doing it right in front of you. And if you have decided that giving something up is going to be your resolution for the year, then the best advice I can give you is try to couple it with something you can be doing that helps reinforce that idea or reinforce that behavior. So in my example where I say I want to stop biting my nails, I know I'm going to fail that pretty damn hard almost every day, but it doesn't mean I can't still have the commitment to keep doing it throughout the entire year. The problem is, if I fail too many times, eventually my brain will just throw me off completely so that I can stop having this conflict of, I thought you said you were going to do this, how come you're still doing it? So for me, the behavior that I would go to is either to cut or file or do something with my nails every single day and actually make a commitment to be doing that, so that every single day I get that reminder of like, oh man, maybe I failed it 10 or more times yesterday, but today is still another chance to get it right. And again, 365 repetitions of that, even if I don't succeed completely by the end of the year, I've still built a habit of confirming to myself that this is something that I am actually working on and that I do want to get better at. And when we think of it like this, I think it's kind of easy to think of other examples where you could fit that in. So obviously if you wanted to give up something like drugs or alcohol, then you could choose maybe an activity where you specifically cannot be intoxicated to perform, or you cannot be hungover to perform. And having something like that you're going to try and do every single day is going to be much better than just saying, well, I'm going to give up alcohol, because then you're just going to be sitting in your room not doing anything and wondering what the hell you should be doing all the time, thinking, oh, isn't it great, I've given up this thing. So your mind's still on the alcohol the entire time. If you're trying to give up takeaway or fast food, then rather than just saying that's all I'm going to do, you could say I'm going to choose something healthy and I just have to eat that with every single meal. So something like carrots is pretty hard to find in a lot of fast food. So if you say I have to eat carrot with every single meal and you commit yourself to sticking to that, then even the times where you're going to buy fast food, you now have the additional task that you need to go and find a carrot. So that's number two. That's if you're trying to give something up, you need to couple it with something that you can do to reinforce the idea that you don't want to do that thing anymore. And finally, with these types of goals, if you want to achieve something by the end of the year, it's probably something that's pretty difficult to achieve, which means it's going to take some kind of time and effort on your behalf. If it was something really easy and you could just go out and do it, there'd be no point in setting a 1-year deadline on that thing. You just go out and do it now. If you're setting yourself this goal and it's actually going to take some time and effort and preparation and training, well, to do that training, you're going to have to go out and do something every single day. You're going to need to do a little bit of that training every single day, probably. So why wouldn't you just choose that as your resolution? Stick to the daily, have those bigger goals in your mind, but for actual big one-time events, choose those over a 1 month to 3 month period. Set a goal for that month, try to get as far as you can towards hitting it, and once you realize how difficult that was, then adjust and change course for the second month. One of the interesting things about habit change is when they research people who really want to change something about themselves, it's usually, weight loss, quitting smoking or alcohol, or controlling their personality, whether they're too nice, too angry, whatever it is. It goes through a minimum of 7 kind of rounds of attempting and then failure, and then the people who succeed get really good at, after the failures, figuring out, okay, what happened that time, what do I want to change, and then they go again. The people who never achieve what they want try, fail, never actually take the learnings from the failures. They never look at, all right, well, how come I failed this time? Effort is commendable. The harder you try, the better your chances are, but that is only true if you're also analyzing your successes and failures at the same time. So anyway, this has been long enough. What are your thoughts? Have you set a New Year's resolution? Are you still going? Have you failed yet? And what do you think of my ideas? Is it better to think of a daily practice? Are you going to change anything based on these ideas, or do you have a better way of doing it? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.